On today's podcast, we talk about one American city that could generate over $2 billion in economic activity. Later this year, Apple is going to release some new software with some fun new features. And what's on everybody's mind, the Fed's new chair, to cut or not to cut. This is for clients only. I'm David Rookie.
And I'm Sean Cook. To cut or not to cut. Last week was the first meeting with the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, and it's a different Fed. The decision was to leave things unchanged. But the bigger news was the change that Warsh did bring to being Fed chair. He has not been a fan of the Fed communicating proactively and trying to move markets with a lot of guidance. And so he cut way back the statement that they released, which was pretty much just factual and no sort of massaging, which is what the markets have gotten used to over the last couple decades. He announced, I think it's 5 different task forces to look at different processes in the Fed, one notably being about communication. And so one of the things that is apparent is that the Fed is no longer going to be overtly giving guidance and moving markets with that sort of thing. Now, markets still are going to look at all the evidence, try to pull in what they think the Fed will be doing. And as a matter of fact, the projections from the other Fed governors altogether and the Fed's own projections show that inflation is probably expected to still remain high for this year and going forward. Their target is 2%. Right now, the expectation's around 3.6, I think it was. And their mandate is to try to keep jobs good, but also keep inflation down. And sometimes those aren't equally easy to do.
So going into it, this new chair, political pressures as they may be, a thought to try to put someone in that would reduce rates.
Yes. So historically, further back in history, it was done. The Fed had less independence and Fed chairs were leaned on or installed to lower rates, goose the economy ahead of elections, that sort of thing. And so that's been one of the concerns about anyone who went in there. Warsh in the past has been perceived to be a hawk, meaning he would raise rates to slow things down.
Let's pause a minute.
He's a bird.
I always found this interesting, right? Like in no other, in no other context do we use bird analogies. But when it comes to the Fed and rates, it's, are you a hawk or are you a dove?
Yeah.
Really, honestly, we couldn't come. It's lovely. It's a lovely.
Yeah. I think, no more Blue Jays, no more loud,
no more goldfinches or carrier pigeons.
So, but we talking about the longer term economy, there is a question about, is it really so bad to let the economy run a little bit hot and have a little bit higher inflation? It's not good for the average person or prices, but historically that's the path that virtually all governments have used to gradually erode away the value of the debt without officially defaulting. And so that's been one of the concerns, that's what the government is going to have to do and actually is starting to do. So we'll keep an eye on that. But one thing is, even with the measured inflation for what's coming out again this week, the PCE data on inflation, which is the main measure, Warsh has said he's not a big fan of that measure. And so one of the things that they also will be looking at are alternative ways to measure inflation. And so there's a lot of change going on with this. And it's not bad.
I was going to say, right? It's not
bad to reassess how you do things in your processes. So, but doves and hawks in defense and I guess the Fed, I don't know. There is the expectation now that rates may actually go up slightly by the end of the year. And when we say this, we mean the Fed actually raising the short-term rates. All the other rates that are what we live with, actual mortgage rates and things like that, the market sets. And so it keys off that. And so after the last Fed meeting, rates in Treasury markets went up a little bit because the markets are expecting a little bit higher inflation and potentially a raise by the Fed by the end of the year. With all that excitement, David, the more exciting thing that has been going on is World Cup, right?
Are you a football fan?
For FIFA, during FIFA, I am. I'm not. Yeah, I am a casual fan. I have gotten to be more and more of one over the years, and I have to say I have been drawn in and taken by the FIFA fever.
It is World Cup fever, and it is a a huge thing going on in North America. And so the teaser at the beginning of this was talking about the economic impact to the various areas where teams are playing, where matches are being held. So keeping it local, Philadelphia is going to benefit greatly from the World Cup, but not just the World Cup. Philadelphia this year is just stacked upon stacked with major, major events. So we have World Cup. Then in just a week or two, we have the 250th anniversary, which arguably Philadelphia is the epicenter of, right?
Absolutely.
Tying in with that, Major League Baseball is going to have its All-Star game. This is happening all within a matter of like 3 to 4 weeks, all at once. So I teased at the beginning, it's just the World Cup alone. The city controller and Visit Philly have estimated that $770 million in economic activity. That boils down to like $50 million of tax revenue just for the Philadelphia. That's double that for the All-Star game. Now, the All-Star game is a tighter window, so not as many days as the World Cup, but the biggest is the 250th. So all three combined, when you stack them together, again, based off the city controller's estimates, anywhere from $1.3 to $2.5 billion in economic activity, all within a month span.
Yeah. And it's beyond, I mean, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Even beyond that, I love the fact that we have visitors to the city and international visitors to the U.S. coming and, it like having a good time. It's a good cultural thing. It's wonderful to see that in this, time with all kinds of strife going on, that you have people coming on. I saw Norway was a thing, but you were telling me about the Boston.
So in Boston, I went down a rabbit hole one day, just watching videos, shorts. And so Scotland, I believe, has made Boston their home base. I know a bunch of other matches were there. And so, the Scots that came over have really just embraced the city of Boston, and they're actually called they're called the Tartan Army, and they en masse have gone to Red Sox games, have gone to the North End to try some of the Italian pastries and things, and really just soaking up all of Boston. And what a lot of the press over there says is that it just has uplifted the spirits of Boston, that it's just like it's just like fun to experience something you do every day as a resident, but see it through the eyes or witness it through someone that's not experiencing it. It's great.
It's been really fun for me watching, and people I've been watching with, because so much of this has been the underdogs, just complete underdogs, pulling out a draw or a win when nobody expected them to even be competitive. And
was that Cape Verde in Spain or somebody?
Yeah, Cape Verde. Yes.
Like it was
40-year-old goalie. I think his mom couldn't even come because it cost an enormous amount of money to get her here. And he doesn't even play he plays, it's not like a local team, but he doesn't play in a high league or anything. And he stopped, I think it was 7, amazing shots.
But
it's just
tell me, like,
so many great underdog stories. They're not the only ones, right? So it's been a nice summer, uplifting experience overall. And there's more to go. And as you say, like, this is Philadelphia summer, baby.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much going on.
And it is the summer. And so people should be outside enjoying it. And particularly young kids. Tease in the beginning, talking about Apple releasing some new software at the end of the year. And one of those key aspects is actually parental controls for tablets, devices, that sort of screen time thing. But what's really great about this new software coming out, the new iOS updates, etc., is it gets granular in terms of the content and the consumption per app, which is huge. Siri has gotten the big, expected update, probably 2 years too late, but built off of Google's Gemini, but all on device and on Apple's secure servers. But there is one other element that exists today,
right,
that I think is a great suggestion for our audience.
We had talked about it as a sort of just as a value add, these things that you should be aware of. But people talk about like digital estate planning and that sort of thing. One of the things, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, there is an Apple digital contact, I think it's called, that you can set on your phone. And so the scenario is, if you pass away, right, everything is on your phone. How, like, even your spouse, like, how do they how do they get in? What do they do? And so you can set a digital contact.
Legacy contact.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Apple Legacy Contact. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're the Apple guy.
Sorry.
You know it.
But I'm glad you said spouse. But it also shouldn't be based off of when we think of estate, we think maybe older, all clients of any age,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, especially if something were to happen to me or anyone. That is, I think, a great thing to enable regardless of age.
Right. And once you do that, if God forbid something happens to you, then that contact can provide a death certificate.
Right.
And it's not the same thing as an executor, but doing that, then you can get photos, all sorts of things,
Right.
not passwords.
No.
And a couple other things that are secure. So it's not exactly like unfettered access to everything in the phone. But if if you're like me, like there are thousands of pictures, and unfortunately most of them live right there, which, if you want someone to be able to access that and your data if something happens to you. So it's one thing that, a million little things to take care of from time to time to make sure that things are covered.
Yeah.
And that's a good one.
So a couple fun things coming from Apple at the end of the year, but the legacy contact, enable that now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you want to wrap this up?
I wanted to ask about your shirt.
For those of you listening,
you
you can't see the shirt, but for Father's Day, my daughter gave me a very cool polo shirt with a bunch of different, it just looks like little pink flowers on it. I like pink. I'm good with it. I love it. And I told her that we were going to record our podcast today and that I would wear it so she can see me.
Well, you
wearing
look
it.
great.
Thank you very much.
It's a lovely shirt.
Well, we'll have to stay tuned till next time, see what shirt I'm wearing then. Till then, have a great one, everyone.